Sometimes we assume we know celebrities because we see them all the time. This is even more true with young celebrities, where we think we have them all sorted out.
Go yourself, you hear me?
Because they're still young. I mean, what could they possibly hide from us? Well, let's talk about that. Today, we are going to show you the top 10 things you didn't know about Zion Williamson. First, who is that young man and why is he making a name for himself at such a young age? Zion Lateef Williamson is an American professional basketball player for the New Orleans Pelicans of the NBA. He led his high school team to 3 straight state championships and earned South Carolina Mr. Basketball recognition in his senior year. So here are the top 10 things you didn't know about this young man. Number 10. Zion was offered a football scholarship to play at LSU. If you saw Zion in person and didn't know who he was, you probably think that he would be a football player because of the way that he's built. 6'6", 285 pounds of thick brute force. Zion could probably dominate his both offensive and defensive linemen. It's no surprise that football programs in the country were proven to find out if this basketball thing was really working out. LSU went the farthest and offered a scholarship to play with them, stating that he was the best high school tight end that they'd ever seen, even though the only time they saw him was on a basketball court. Get this. Zion's high school didn't even have a football team, so he was almost destined to become a basketball player, considering that he wasn't very tall as a freshman. He could have easily started out playing football instead. Who knows? He might have been the very first draft pick in the NFL. Number 9. LeBron couldn't even get into the gym to watch Zion play in high school. LeBron and Zion first met in February 2020, the first time the Pelicans and the Lakers played each other this year. That surprised many people, considering LeBron has relationships with many players during their high school and college days, as many of them go through his camp or at least meet at various events. It was especially strange considering Zion was the highest profile high school player since LeBron himself. The one time they probably could have met LeBron was denied entrance to the gym where Zion was playing an AAU game against LaMelo Ball. Yep, you heard that correctly. The biggest star in basketball was shut down and denied entrance to a high school game. The reason for it? Zion and LaMelo were by far the most popular high school athletes, and by the time Bron got to the spot, the 4,000-seat gym was already overcrowded. It was a security risk to let LeBron and his crew in there, and it was surely the first time in probably a decade that LeBron was denied an entrance anywhere. Zion was the reason. Number 8. Largest second shoe deal. Zion signed the second largest shoe deal ever for a rookie and the 7th largest all-time still a teenager before playing a single minute in the NBA. Zion already became an extremely rich man. He signed not one, but 2 8-figure deals. The first one was with the New Orleans Elegance, who signed him to a 4-year, $44 million contract deal as the first-round pick in the draft. But an even bigger check came from Nike, or more precisely, the Jordan brand, who won the shoe war for Zion. Number 7. When Zion Williamson came to the NC, a question was pondered more than ever. A packed arena and many hours of media. Content titled Duke of Zion were the norms of Williamson's brief college career. We don't know if Barack Obama paid for that game when Zion's shoe broke, but if he did, he paid several $1,000s while Zion didn't get a dime. He was such an attraction that he changed the way college basketball was reported. CBS introduced the Zion Cam, a camera that followed Williamson explicitly for every second he spent on the court during March Madness. More likely, he was the straw that broke the camel's back, and part of the reason California instituted the Fair Play to Play Act law, which allows college athletes to make money from endorsement deals for the first time and profit from their name and likeness. Number 6. In just 2 years, Zion grew 4 inches and gained nearly 100 pounds as a high school freshman. Zion wasn't exactly a small guy, being 6 foot 3 inches tall, weighing 175 pounds. However, even he was surprised when he stepped on the scale 2 years later and saw that he was north of 250 pounds. It was surprising because he was faster and more explosive than ever, and that's what made him a unique player. There was never a player of that size and that kind of lettuce ISM outside of maybe LeBron's years in Miami. However, LeBron is 2 inches taller, and it took him almost 10 years NBA before he fully developed. Number 5. Zion outjumped the vertical measurement machine at Duke Man vs. Machine is a title of many famous YouTube videos with many men trying to outrun cars, outplay computers, and chess or robots in table tennis. In Zion's case, his physical prowess proved to be too much for the machine that measures the vertical jump at Duke's practice facility. A tall pole with metal bars that measures inches in an athlete's vertical simply didn't have enough bars when it was Zion's turn to jump. The young phenomenon easily swatted at the top and all the bars the pole had, so the Duke trainers had to put weights underneath the pole to make it higher. That didn't help, as I.M. unrepeated the feat and cleared all the tabs again. His official vertical at Duke is measured at 46 inches, which would be equal to the highest measured vertical of the history of the NBA Draft Combine, and enabled him to do things like this. Number 4. Who was his early coach? Zion's basketball coach through middle school was his mom. Think nobody in the world would love to have their mom in the place that they work, even if you had to cool his mom in the world. Sure, it can have its perks, but when your mom wants you to succeed, she's going to require the best effort, and you'll always hear about something that you did wrong. That's what happened to Zion Williamson in high school when his mom served as head coach of the team. Hardest coach I ever had to this day. A good game in her books is almost impossible, said Zion. We don't know if he ever got reprimanded by the head coach, but whatever she did, it worked. The Zion became one of the most dominant rookies in NBA history and is on his path to be a perennial all-star. This is so sweet, isn't it? Number 3. So popular in high school, even Drake wore his jersey. Drake is one of the most popular basketball fans in the world and can even be seen at basketball games and serves as an ambassador for the Toronto Raptors, which is his home team. Drake has been wearing various basketball jerseys as part of his attire, and back in early 2017, he copped Zion's high school jersey even though the young phenom was only 16 years old, junior. Drake was also the first celebrity to follow him on social media, and Zion was ecstatic. When you are 16 years old and have one of the biggest stars on the planet wear your jersey and follow you online, that must feel like a second birthday. This kind of representation throughout Williamson. Even more fans later recalled that his classmates were counting how many followers he would gain between high school periods, and said that the number used to rise by tens of thousands in those 45 minutes. What can we say? Drake is a pretty good Instagram influencer. Number 2. Zion grew up playing point guard because he was rarely the biggest player on the team. Zion's game is predicated on size, strength, and athleticism, but he's more than just an athletic freak of nature. The young Pelicans star also has a decent feel for the game, as he's shown the ability to slice defenses with some pretty crisp passes. Part of his game was developed because he used to play point guard growing up. As he was never the biggest player on the team, as we just mentioned, he started breaking up after his freshman year in high school. And until then, he was not nearly as dominant as Zion play AAU basketball with John Moran, as they both grew up in the same area. John Moran was a sophomore and Zion was a freshman, and they both showed promise. But nobody could have ever known that these two kids were going to be future NBA stars, and the first 2 picks, they would both get dunks even back then, but they weren't as athletic as they are now, in Zion's anorexic compared to present day. Now, for the number 1 interesting fact about him. He is extremely shy. He didn't socialize much and hung out with his mom after AAU games. He's much more relaxed on social now, and we're guessing that all the ducks helped him out. You can't post and rise and dominate people and then be shy about it later. What a gem. What a future legend. If you enjoyed this video, support us by liking and subscribing. See you next time. Bye.